There's something happening inside the American bourbon industry that the brands involved will never announce, never advertise, and never voluntarily explain to the consumers paying full price for the result. It happens when a distillery's demand outgrows its aged stock, when the number of bottles they need to sell exceeds the number of barrels they aged at the quality level that built the brand's reputation. When the choice becomes reduce volume or change what's in the bottle, they almost always change what's in the bottle. Not dramatically, not in a way that triggers a label change or a press release. Quietly, incrementally, a younger average age here, a reduced rye content there, a shift in barrel sourcing that nobody outside the production facility would notice from the outside. The label stays the same, the price stays the same, or goes up. The loyal customer keeps buying because the name is familiar and the bottle looks right. One of the 5 bottles on this list is almost certainly something you've bought in the last 12 months. By the time this video ends, you'll know exactly what changed and why the brand spent significant money making sure you never found out. 5 famous bourbons caught quietly changing their recipe, and the dumb people still paying full price. Number 5. Before I name this bottle, I want to be precise about what I mean by caught. I'm not talking about rumors. I'm not talking about forum speculation from enthusiasts who think their palate is more sophisticated than it is. I'm talking about documented production changes, shifts in mash bill, proof, age statement management, or sourcing that can be verified through label history, production records, and side-by-side comparison of bottles from different eras. When the liquid changes and the label doesn't, the consumer is being asked to pay the same price for a different product. That is the specific injustice this video is about. And the first bottle on this list is one of the clearest examples of it in the current market. This brand built its identity on a specific mash bill, a high rye content that produced a spicy, complex profile that genuinely differentiated it from the wheated bourbons that dominated the premium tier. That mash bill was the whole story. The brand grew because serious bourbon drinkers could taste the difference, and it was real. Then the brand was acquired, production expanded, and the rye content that made the profile distinctive got quietly moderated as blending priorities shifted toward consistency at volume rather than character at quality. The bottle still says what it always said. The liquid no longer delivers what it used to. That bottle is Bulleit Bourbon. The acquisition by Diageo in 1997 was the beginning of a slow production evolution that longtime customers have been documenting in blind tastings for over a decade. The high rye identity that built the brand, the specific flavor characteristic Bulleit charged a premium to deliver, has been progressively smoothed toward a more commercially accessible profile. The frontier heritage story on the label has never changed. The bourbon behind it has. At $35 to $40 retail, you are paying for a reputation that was earned by a product that no longer exists in the same form. That is the definition of a recipe change the brand hopes you never notice. Number 4. This one is more recent and more specific, which makes it more infuriating. This brand had a clear identity built around a single production commitment, genuine age statements. Not non-age statement, blending with vague references to maturity, specific years on the label, specific guarantees about what was in the bottle, specific reasons for the premium the brand charged. Then, demand outgrew age supply, and the brand made a decision that it communicated as quietly as possible. Between 2012 and 2016, the age statement disappeared entirely from the label. The brand called this a quality decision, freeing the master distiller to blend across age ranges for optimal flavor rather than being constrained by a number on the bottle. The marketing team described it as an evolution. What it actually was, the age stock ran out and the brand needed to fill bottles with younger whiskey while maintaining the price point that the age statement had justified. The age statement came back in 2016. What came back is not what left. Multiple side-by-side comparisons of pre-removal and current expressions, conducted by collectors with verified old stock, consistently identify the current liquid as younger tasting and less complex than the pre-2012 version. The number is back on the label. The bourbon behind it has never fully recovered. That bottle is Knob Creek, 9-year. At $40 retail, Knob Creek is charging for a legacy that the production decision of 2012 to 2016 permanently compromised. The age statement, removal, and reinstatement is documented public history. The quality gap between pre-removal and current expressions is documented in blind comparative tastings, and the consumer paying $40 in 2026 is paying for a reputation built by a product that no longer exists in its original form. Number 3. This one operates differently from the previous two, because the recipe change here wasn't a single documented event. It was a post-acquisition drift that no press release ever acknowledged and no label ever reflected. This brand's identity was built on a finishing process, specifically on the depth and character that comes from genuine port cask maturation. That finishing story was the entire premium justification. The brand grew because serious drinkers could taste the difference, and it was real. Then Bacardi acquired the brand in 2015. Production volumes expanded dramatically to meet the distribution footprint a global spirits company requires. And in 2017, former head distiller Lincoln Henderson's son, Wes Henderson, who had co-founded the brand, gave an interview in which he noted publicly that scaling production while maintaining the quality of the finishing process was the central challenge the brand faced under new ownership. That is not a rumor. That is the co-founder of the brand acknowledging on the record that the finishing process that built the reputation was under pressure from the scaling demands of the acquisition. The consumer paying $45 to $50 in 2026 is paying for a finishing story whose own creator acknowledged was being compromised by growth. That is caught, not by a critic, not by a forum, but by the person who built the product. That bottle is Angel's Envy. If this is landing differently than you expected, if you're realizing that the bottle you've been loyal to may not be the same bottle that earned your loyalty, subscribe now, because the follow-up to this video names 5 famous bourbons that dumb people are still spending their money on in 2026, while the rest of us drink better for less. If you don't subscribe, you will keep paying full price for recipes that have already changed. Dropping in a few days, don't miss it. Number 2. This one is the most documented recipe change in American bourbon history. It generated mainstream press coverage. It triggered a consumer backlash, significant enough to force a partial reversal. It is the clearest case study in the entire industry of a brand getting caught changing its product while hoping the loyal customer wouldn't notice. In 2012, this brand announced it was introducing a new expression, a softer, lower-proof variant intended to expand the brand's accessibility to new drinkers. The existing flagship expression would remain unchanged. What actually happened is that the production infrastructure built to support the new, softer expression gradually influenced the blending decisions for the flagship. The signature flavor profile, the specific combination of wheat and char that had made this bourbon's reputation over decades, got progressively moderated as the two production streams shared resources and the blending priorities shifted toward the newer, more commercially accessible profile. The brand denied any change to the flagship for years. Consumer blind tastings told a different story. Side-by-side comparisons of pre-2012 and current expressions consistently identified a measurable softening of the profile that the brand had built its reputation on. The consumer backlash eventually forced a public acknowledgement. The brand promised a return to original character. Longtime customers who have tasted the current expression against verified old stock say the recovery has been partial at best. That bottle is Maker's Mark. The 2012 proof reduction announcement that they plan to reduce the flagship from 90 to 84 proof to stretch supply was the most visible recipe change attempt on this list because it failed publicly. The brand reversed the proof reduction within weeks under consumer pressure. What was never publicly acknowledged was the gradual profile softening that preceded and followed the proof controversy. The shift in blending priorities that modified the bourbon's character, while the proof number stayed the same. At $35 to $45 retail, Maker's Mark is charging for a heritage and consistency that its own production history contradicts. The consumer who keeps buying it because the 2012 reversal felt like a victory is paying for a brand's response to getting caught, not for a full return to the liquid that earned their loyalty in the first place. Number 1, the most egregious recipe change on this list, and the one the brand has invested the most in making sure you never think about. This distillery is one of the most recognized names in American bourbon. The bottle is on more back bars than almost any other expression in the premium tier. The brand story involves heritage, craft, and a commitment to quality that is communicated with extraordinary consistency across every piece of marketing the brand produces. The reality of what happened to this bourbon's recipe over the past 2 decades is the most damaging story in this video, because the gap between the brand's quality narrative and its documented production decisions is the widest of any bottle on this list. 3 separate changes, all documented, none announced. First, proof. The flagship was reduced from 86.8 proof to 80 proof in the early 2000s. That is the legal minimum for bourbon. Every fraction below 86.8 represents water added to the final product, rather than barrel-strength liquid. Production cost per bottle decreased. The consumer's glass got thinner. Second, age. As production volumes expanded to meet growing global demand, the average age of the whiskey entering the flagship blend decreased. No formal age statement means no legal requirement to disclose this. The consumer paid the same price. The liquid got younger. Third, filtration. Chill filtration strips flavor compounds to produce a clear appearance at low temperatures. As proof and average age both declined, the character that remained in the liquid got further reduced by a filtration process that the brand's premium positioning never acknowledged was working against the product's complexity. Three changes, each individually defensible as a production decision. Together, a systematic reduction of what's in the glass while the price and the brand narrative moved in the opposite direction. That bottle is Woodford Reserve. At $45 to $50 retail, Woodford is the most sophisticated example on this list of a brand charging a premium for a quality narrative that its production history contradicts. The consumer buying it in 2026 is funding a marketing operation that has been, for 2 decades, quietly working against the product it describes. Russell's Reserve 10-year, $35, 90 proof, genuine age statement, no chill filtration, same production region, tastes better blind. That is where the money goes instead. So what unifies these 5 brands across every different kind of change? Acquisition drift, age statement removal, finishing process compromise, profile softening, systematic yield optimization. Every one of them grew because they made something genuinely good. Every one of them then faced a choice between maintaining that quality and scaling the business. Every one of them chose the scale. Every one of them made that choice quietly, without announcing it on the label or reflecting it in the price. And every one of them is still collecting full price from the loyal customers who never got the memo. The consumer who keeps buying these bottles without knowing any of this is not stupid. They are simply uninformed. That is what this channel exists to change. The people who keep buying them after watching this video, those are the dumb people paying full price. You now know what changed. You now know what the brands hoped you'd never find out. You now know what to buy instead. Stop paying for the recipe they used to make. Start paying for the recipe they're actually using. Or better, find the bottles that never compromised in the first place. This is Cask Index. Subscribe and see you in the next one.